In the last few years, we've built up a portfolio of 50 plus units of short-term rental, also known as service accommodation and short stay.
We are currently also in the process of building a few purpose-built blocks for service accommodation within the West Midlands.
And this year alone, we're on target to do a revenue of 1.4 million. In this video, I want to share with you the 7 biggest mistakes that people make in trying to build a business like ours. Make sure you watch all the way to the end because we're going to share with you a bonus tip. Let's get straight into mistake number 1. One of the biggest mistakes that we see is not looking in the right place to attract the best possible guest for your property. So, for example, you could create a new website, you could do Facebook adverts, you could do all these magical marketing things to find those best guests. Alternatively, you could use a platform that has over 1.1 billion guests stay with it since 2010.
In fact, Saj, this is probably the perfect segue for a sponsor for this video.
If you're embarking on your property hosting journey, whether you're new with your first short-term rental or you're a seasoned pro, then Booking.com is the ideal platform. With liability protection up to 1 million for every reservation, you can host with confidence. And if you're planning a family getaway, look no further. Booking.com offers a wide array of millions of short-term rental listings, ensuring you'll find your perfect accommodation to suit your travel needs.
One of the things we love about Booking.com is its loyal, genius customers.
Yeah, and I guess these are the guys that spend the most amount of money on the platform, and it's almost like they're coming out with a seal of approval.
Exactly. And guys, there's different levels of genius customers, but levels 2 and 3 make up 33% of the holiday rental customers.
Yeah, 75% of Genius bookings are direct on Booking.com. And if you're wondering, this particular property is also on Booking.com right now. It's actually a 2-bedroom coach house. And on this particular site, we've got the 8 additional apartments as well. But it's really easy to get your property onto Booking.com. In fact, we'll put a link in the description below. The second biggest mistake that we see people making in building this type of business is they don't match the property with the right type of clientele.
So what we're meaning by that is normally you'll have your corporate and leisure markets. For example, in this particular property, we're really targeting the corporate clients. As you can see, we actually got 3 beds in this bedroom alone, and we've got another 3 downstairs.
Yeah, so there's 2 bathrooms in this property, and we've got a total of 6 beds. What's the reason this works well for our corporate guests?
Well, you know, normally speaking, we'll have the clients that are staying here, they're going to be contractors, engineers working in the local area. We've got people catering for the HS2. We've got people working, you know, at different manufacturing industries here. And it's perfect for them because you've got 2 bathrooms, 6 beds, they're all single, they're well spaced apart, and
we've got parking for them, they can get to work.
Exactly.
And why would it not work as a family, this one?
Well, you know, it's just the way it's fully set up. You know, you haven't really got double beds in here for like the, you know, the husband and the wife. And, you know, you could in theory make it, you know, work for a family, but the way we've set up is really for our core target clients because of, you know, the way that the house has been set up.
And this way, by setting the property up for a specific type of clientele, we're targeting that, works really well for them, and basically keep it full pretty much with that type of clientele.
The third biggest mistake we see people make in this industry is that they don't spend enough time to really understand their competition and understand the marketplace. So one of the best ways for you to start getting your head around that is go to major platforms like Booking.com and see what other properties are available in that area they're looking to do short-term lets. You can understand their nightly rates, you can see their availability in their calendars to see how busy they are with other reservations for the coming kind of, you know, 2 to 4 to 8 weeks out. So that'll give you a much better understanding, you know, is the area busy and is it worth investing in that area? So, you know, that's a good starting point. Let's go and I'll show you the other house.
Mistake number 4 is not really understanding the location for the type of property that you have. So for example, what we have here is a small block of apartments and we're in a really nice part of Birmingham.
Yeah, so we're in south part of Birmingham. It's an affluent area and it's very close to the high street. So you literally have all your amenities, public transport routes, buses, you know, we've got a new train station opening up soon. So it really works really great for our clients here. And the clients we actually get in this location more are our leisure guests.
Yeah, so there's very little in terms of parking around here, but there's great public transport. This is very different from the site we were just at earlier on, where those type of guests are more focused on work locations. So for example, we're very close to the NEC there, Birmingham Airport, international train station there as well.
So the key factor to remember when you're looking at location is really the core things of your amenities, the public transport. If you got parking, that's perfect because most people, whether it's corporate or leisure, parking is an essential thing these days, which really will help you to attract the better clients and really get your occupancy levels and increase your nightly rates as well.
Mistake number 5 is thinking about the type of property you can have for the type of guests guests you're going to have. So for example, here we've got these micro apartments that work really well for maybe 1 or 2 type of guests. Where we were previously at the coach house, that's a house as opposed to compared to an apartment. We can have several more people there. So in that particular one, we can have 6 guests staying there. The mistake that many people tend to make, thinking bigger is better. So they might have, say, a 6-bedroom house, thinking, okay, I can have twin beds in each one, so that'd be 12 guests I can have. That's going to be a huge amount of revenue that I'm going to be able to generate from that particular property. Yes, that's correct in theory. However, in reality, it means you're segmenting yourself into a certain portion of the market where 12 people will come and stay together. So for example, that might be parties or it might be occasional leisure stays, but then you are now pigeonholing yourself into a small portion of the market. And as long as you understand that that's what you're focusing on, which is a mistake many people make, just assuming they're going to get bigger groups of people staying with them, versus having clarity over the type of person you're going to be staying in your property and what their needs are. Like here, as I said, we have 1 or 2 guests staying. They're corporate workers, mostly work in the city centre. Mistake number 6 is not focusing on growing the business. So for example, if you think about guests that come and stay with you, and what's the reason for them to want to come back? It's because they've had a great experience with you. If they have a great experience, that's everything from the booking to checking in to staying with you, from support, they're likely to come back and stay with you again. The other thing they'll also do is leave you a great review. And reviews ultimately mean that when other people see those, they're much more likely to book with you as well. So these, your clients, are effectively helping you grow the business.
Here, you guys, as you can see, we're actually in a similar type of apartment. This is a different location. We've got a cluster of small micro apartments here. It's actually closer to the city center, and we attract our leisure guests here as well. And as I mentioned, reviews are really critical because they allow you to get a repeat business. And ultimately, what that means is you can focus on growing the business because the bookings are kind of rolling in because you're providing great service. You know, people are sharing that with other potential guests.
When we think about economies of scale, really we're systemizing the business. So the way that this room is laid out is very similar to the other one, even though we're in a completely different building, because those processes mean that actually that's what enables us to grow. Mistake number 7 is not really thinking about automation. Many people that get into this business really want time freedom. That means you want to be able to enjoy your time. If you're spending every hour working in this business, you're not going to have an opportunity to enjoy time. So there's 2 types of automation that we think about in our business.
And they're actually right. So one is automating the property itself. So what we mean by that, in the property, we want to make sure we have eyes. So we have CCTV cameras that we can access remotely from our phones. We have smart heating. So we automate when the heating comes on, the temperatures at different levels. So, you know, we have smart thermostats or different configurations for different properties. We also look at noise detection. So we'll kind of integrate to make sure that we prevent potentially parties or any kind of nuisance. That includes even things like humidity detection or all kinds of things we can automate. Another automation for our property is actually keyless access. So we have digital locks, which enables our guests to enter the properties without having to have keys. So we kind of bypass all the lock boxes, and the codes are only valid for the duration of the stay. So that means maximum security, really. So the codes are generated for the unique stay of each person. And the second part of the automation is actually the guest journey. So what we want to focus on is making sure that we can provide all the information to our guests at their fingertips. So the access instructions, you know, how to, you know, get the Wi-Fi codes to the directions and everything else in between to minimize the almost the personal interaction, and also at the same time be always available if need be. So focusing really on proper automation and the guest journey automation.
So although automation is a key part of our business, we probably barely scratched the surface with the type of tools that we're using. So Booking.com has over 600 hospitality tech partners, but really there's only a small amount that we use. Hey, thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I promised you a bonus tip when you get to the end. So what would you say is more important than the quality of the air for a guest? You guessed it, Wi-Fi, right? Wi-Fi is always comes up as number 1 as the most important thing for many of the guests that are staying at properties. So one thing we do is have a backup Wi-Fi. So we have 2 Wi-Fi connections. That doesn't mean we have 2 lines coming into the property necessarily. For example, one could be a fiber optic connection. The other one could be a GSM connection. So that means there's a backup if there's ever an issue, that the internet isn't going to be a problem for our guests. So hey, look, what I'd love for you to do is pop in the comment section below what's the most valuable thing that you found in this video. And then once you've done that, make sure you click on this video over here, which tells you a little bit more about how our short stay accommodation business works.